staying with us. You're still watching New Dawn right on the Ogun State Television. Let's now get cracking on the interview segment of the program. And this morning, we turn our attention to the intra-party tensions shaping Nigerian political landscape as 2027 elections draw closer. Well, leadership battles, factional dispute, and power struggles, particularly in the major opposition party, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, defining alliances and strategies. But what do these internal crises mean for the road to 2027? Well, we have two gentlemen in the studio, Honorable Dakmo Adeyemi, a politician, analyst, and a former member of the Ogun State House of Assembly. Yes, he served in the House of Assembly 1999 to 2003. Welcome to the program, Honorable.
Thank you so much, Moses.
Yeah, thanks so much for
Good
coming.
Morning, viewers.
Yeah, and of course, to my immediate left is Mr. Olayinka Isiaq Mustafa, public affairs analyst. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Good morning, Nigerians. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Simiat.
Thank you so much for joining us today on the program. It's interesting to talk about intra-party crisis and, of course, the road to 2027. And yes, we have political analysts in the studio, and of course, Honorable Dakpo Adeyemi. Maybe I should start by asking how you see our democracy being practiced, the role of opposition itself, in a democracy. Maybe from there we take all the issues that we have in the major opposition parties now. And of course, the main political, the incumbent party ruling the country. How do you see our democracy being practiced in this part of the world?
Yeah, I'm thanking so much, Simia. We need to look at how we practice democracy, particularly during the first, second, third, and this fourth republic. You cannot compare the way we practiced it during the first, second, third to what we are doing now. 1999 up till about 2007, 2011, I think we were having robust opposition. We were having opposition who stood against the ruling party, and you see them playing the role of the opposition, providing alternatives, like Babalawo was doing. Babalawo will tell you, this is what is wrong, this is what you're supposed to do. We were seeing that during the emergence of the Fourth Republic, of which I was part of. We knew how we ran the government. We knew how the opposition was faring. In this state, we had AD in government, PDP in opposition, and we saw the way it was going. But as time went by, we discovered that it is the intention of the ruling party to subsume the opposition, and it has gotten into a level where it's becoming.
So what do you mean by that? Intention of the ruling party? Is there?
There's no. What is happening?
Are they being coerced into?
What is? In fact, it is getting more terrible during this present dispensation. I'm a member of the ruling party, but I won't shy away from saying that an attempt to, turn the country into a one-party state, as we are seeing. What is the sense in governors, in sense in legislators, just leaving their parties going to the ruling party without even having regard for the constitutional provisions?
Is that not a question that should bother those, bother people like you in asking those actually joining the ruling party?
It's bothering.
Because part of that, you recall, there was one of the presentations of Mr. President, when they said, they alleged that he was trying to turn the country into a one-party, state. And of course, he said, is he the one that is going to reorganize their homes for them, or what? Along the line, maybe I should ask Honorable Olayinka Mustafa now. The opposition political parties we know of in this country, we've seen a lot of defections, and Nigerians are saying that this is largely because of personal interests. When we were, having the first segment, there was a video being played, and the governor was saying that he was leaving his political party to join the APC because of the destinies of his own citizens. And of course, you wonder, what destiny are they talking about? How do you feel looking at that state of opposition in Nigeria?
Okay, thank you very much, Semiat. I agree with you totally. I will not start to point finger to the ruling party. You see, people have to be concerned about personal integrity, whether you are in politics, whether you are in business, wherever you find yourself. We're seeing sitting governors and so on and so forth moving to the other party. And I tell you today, it is basically for self-interest. It is for their political survival. You know, we don't practice opposition based on principle, based on ideology. If you look at the governors and other people that are crossing to the ruling party, if you analyze the reason, which they will not tell us, why they are doing that, most of the time it has to do with their next political move. Whether they want second-term tickets, or those of them that have completed 8 years, they want to go to Senate, or one thing or the other. And so, for me, it would be unfair to start pointing accusing finger to the ruling party. And any ruling party in a country like Nigeria, there is this popular saying in politics, "Kosi bara idanu, nínú òṣèlú, bara esibini." You don't chase people away. Their loss, your gain. And that is how it works. So we have to situate this within the context of how people play their politics, their personal interest, how it overrides, you know, their own political party interest. That's why you see people, including governors and all that from the opposition party, you know, moving to the ruling party. So to be fair, we can't start to point accusing finger that APC wants to turn, I'm not the spokesperson for APC, but let us be realistic. It would be unfair to say APC wants to turn Nigeria to one party state. How? When did the president or chairman of APC go to the room of somebody and start knocking? You know, so if people believe in their political party, people believe in the political system, how it should run, we shouldn't have a case where, like Baba just said now, between 1999 and 2007 or 2011, we had what you could call credible opposition. And let me say this, it is very expensive to be in opposition, but because you won't have political patronage. Sometimes you have to be hungry, sometimes you don't have money to, but people endured it. They built a formidable party with which they launched themselves, and they were able to win. But for this set of opposition that we have, you can see, even the ADC that they just formed, what is going on, nobody knows. So it's not about, it's not good for our democracy. Let me make that point very clear. It's not good because where you have opposition, you know, they have to offer alternative, they keep the ruling party on its toes, and so on and so forth. So what is going on is not healthy for our politics. But then we cannot blame it on the ruling party.
Okay, now, Honorable Adeyemi, as it stands, we have 25 governors in the APC, 8 PDP governors, and that could be down to 6 if a Plateau State governor defects, Taraba State governor is also defecting. I think this Thursday, they won ABGA, Labour, and MPP, I mean one each in these minor parties, so to say. So what does this really say about a democracy, and why has it been so hard? Because I know you have a PDP background. Why has it been so hard for the PDP to also put its house in order?
Thank you so much. See, like he rightly said, I will agree with him to a little extent, but having been and still in the system, and having been in the system for a very long time, I am telling you this issue of people decamping, yes, for selfish interest, no, for the next election, but I can tell you, I mean, behind the scene, we know there must have been a lot of coercion. And when I say coercion, in quotes, you know what it means. There's no, in fact, the Constitution is very, very explicit. For instance, when I was in the AD, 1999, it got to a level where I got tired and everything, and I felt I needed to leave the party for PDP there. I mean, the concern is you cannot leave a party on which you are elected for another party and retain your seat in the legislature. But see what is happening now. And why does it happen? Because the head of the legislature is in the ruling party. So they don't even have regard for the concern again. Yeah, there's no that provision for the governors, but a governor of a state, for goodness sake, having the mandate of about 2-3 million people, you just pick your executives and you decide because of the interest of the state. I mean, see the situation where a governor is living, a deputy governor is not living. It's very unfortunate for our democracy, and it's very dangerous. We cannot continue like this. For instance, it was a long time when, now Senator Oshiomhole said, no matter your offense, come to our party, we'll be free. What tells you that is not what is playing out now? It is possible. We need to play politics of principle. You cannot, as a governor, just decide one night and say, I'm leaving for the ruling party. Are you hungry? Even if you have any offense that is threatening you, why don't you be a man enough? I mean, if I was a person like that, the day Fauci left office, he packed his bag and baggages and went to the FCC office, here I call. That is dignity. But for you to still be in that party, and then you just decide to leave and say because of interest, I mean, honestly, it's not good for our democracy. And I believe, when we are talking of politics, I think I know a lot of the things that has happened. I've been in it for a very long time. I know the good old days. It's unfortunate when I see what is happening, I just look at it. Why should people like us even still be in politics? Because you find it difficult to even say the truth, you find it difficult to advise them. This is what you should do. My brother, it's not good at all. Coming back to your question, having 28 governors, having 30 governors does not assure that you can win the election, in 2027. Because the people may not go along with you. The people may not go. And I am also aware, and I also know, that most of them deflect today because they feel once you are in the ruling party, you have won already. These are some of the reasons why they are leaving. If you perform well, what of people, nations where we have independent candidates, then you rely on your performance. You contest elections and you win. If you know you have performed and you know you have your people with you, why do you have to run away from the party that elected you to another party? So 25 governors, 37 governors does not assure that they will win. Jonathan's case is an example.
Yeah, 22 governors then in PDP, and Jonathan still lost. But now, Mr. Mustafa, 25 APC governors, this could swell up to 27, and some are saying, well, this is brightening the chances of President Bola Tinubu, come 2027 elections. We know what these governors could pull. Do you see it that way?
Well, it's a strength in election. If you have lots of governors, on your side, but performance also matters. People's perception and the readiness of the people, to vote. We talk about, we say even in case of rigging, you can only rig where you are popular. If you are not popular there, and so I would say that for APC and also for President Tinubu, it's a good thing for APC to have as many governors as possible. Every political party wants that. If today the 25 governors in APC decide to move to PDP, PDP will gladly will embrace them. That is how politics works. But my message to the APC is that the president should not actually rely on that and start to rest on his horse. It is good to listen to the people. It is good to know what people want, and it is good to actually perform so that at the end of the day, regardless of how many governors and all that, your performance is what is going to, speak for you during the election. So the electorates actually matter a lot. And one other thing is that of all the governors in APC that we're happy about. The fact is that we need to ask the question, is it all of them that are performing well in their states? Are the people of those states happy with those governors? Because at the end of the day, you may also have some of the governors that are coming as liabilities. If they are not popular, they have not performed in their states, you know, and then they come on board, you embrace them, they don't add value at the end of the day. So these are the dynamics of what is going on. But on top of it all is the fact that good performance, there's nothing like good performance. I remember the case during the time of former Governor Fashola in Lagos State. You know, at a time there were rumors that they were going to deny him second-term ticket and all that, and people were saying, look, if you go to another party called Toilet Party of Nigeria, we'll follow you down to that place because of your performance. So the overriding issue there is performance, regardless of the number of governors. But it is a plus to have as many governors, you know, in your party.
Okay, it's interesting we're talking about performance, and I actually specifically like that part. We've seen the president also refer us to, you know, the governors of our states, saying that they are, you know, the ones that they should, in fact, use the term, wet the ground, you know. And of course, that makes it, you know, citizens actually ask more questions about who, what their governors have been doing. And now, winning an election also has to do with a lot of stuff. People talk about the controls of the delegate list, the controls of status quo, and of course, who determines the zoning formula when an election is coming like that. You know, part of that is one reason people say, oh, this might be the reasons we have, you know, defections. But away from that, let's talk about intra-party crisis. PDP is in disarray, sort of. We have different factions of the political party. A court order was given, and of course, we continue the conversation immediately after this break. Please stay with us.
Refreshment is goodness to go round. The Peak Yogurt Drink 1 liter Full House pack with more refreshment, which contains fresh cow milk. Enjoy Full House goodness filled with essential vitamin and minerals. Peak, reach for your peak.
Thank you so much for joining us. We're still on this interview segment of New Dawn on Ogun State Television. And of course, we have gentlemen here dissecting the topic for today, intra-party crisis and 2027 elections. Honorable Adeyemi, I was about asking that particular question. You know, the president continues to refer us to that. And yes, we're talking about the state of the PDP right now. We've seen the different reactions. We talk about different factions now. A court order was given that the convention should not hold. And yes, people talk about the interest of the different persons, you know, members of the PDP rather. And of course, they went on to suspend, you know, critical stakeholders in a political party. And I don't know what you feel when you read all of this in news, and of course, as somebody that is interested in the opposition political party being strong enough, is this going to really consume PDP, or it's this internal crisis? Is it going to consume the party, or is it going to make it a better one in the end?
I think it's not there comes, it might consume it, it might make it stronger. You see, but let me tell you from experience, I know that when you have a crisis like this in the PDP, you see, it's unfortunate when I say a lot of these things, and I sometimes attach it to, you know, the voice of Esau and of Jacob or so. You see, people tend to say, I mean, what do I mean? If you look at the trajectory of PDP since the present dispensation, that is from 2015, you see that the problem we are mounting gradually until it gets to where it is today. And it is why, because one, the man on the seat today, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, everybody knows him as a political strategist.
Okay.
And you must give that to him. He knows the way to handle the thing, he knows the way to go about it, and is perfectly on it. We saw this problem starting during the last administration. And PDP was so careless that they just left it like that. Don't forget, this is a party we said they were going to be in the saddle for about 60 years, only to come down after 16 years. And that is why the APC also needs to be careful now. It's my party. I'm so concerned, I'm so bothered. At a level, we give advice to those that we need to give it to. Whether they will take it or not is a different ball game. Now, moving forward to this period, it is, one cannot say they may survive it, they may not survive it, but to survive it, they will need to make a lot of sacrifices. Because these conventions that just held, if you need to go by the electoral law, and the fact that a court of competent jurisdiction gave them an order, that's not saying that that convention cannot hold. But Nigeria being what we are, and the type of politics that I know we play, before the week runs out, you see another court cases coming up. The problem is, and that has been something of concern to some of us for a very long time, how should courts of competent jurisdiction continue to give contrary rulings? And it has been like that. You go to the federal court in Abuja, you get a judgment in favor of one. Come to this federal court in the state, you get a judgment in favor of the other one in Abuja. Now, can we say PDP had gone against the court judgment of Justice Limu when they have another court judgment in Oyo State which says they should go ahead? That is number one. Number two, you see, internal democracy is no more existing in the parties.
Okay.
And that is why you see all these problems that are happening here and there. In those good days, particularly during the MPN, UPN days, you see what we call perfect internal democracy. The members of the party make contributions to the party, no matter how small. Your monthly dues means a lot. And nobody will just come and say, this is going to be your chairman. What is one of the problems of this PDP crisis? Lamido wants to contest the election. They denied him form. And that is not the first time that has been happening. Why? Because one person will just fund the whole thing. It happens everywhere.
Just to have control.
Just to have
of
control.
The structure.
That is one of the problems that PDP is today having with Wike. While Wike was in PDP, I can say boldly, he was contributing nothing less than 85%.
When you say was in PDP, is he no longer in PDP? Okay, he's been expelled, right?
Even before he was expelled, I don't believe he's in PDP because, I mean, we know that.
But he said his political party gave him
one leg in APC,
they gave him approval to serve as the FCT minister. He said his party actually gave him.
That is what. Anyway, let me say okay when he was, because he's now expelled. But I know that he was contributing nothing less than 85% to the funding of PDP at the national level. So automatically he has it in his hands. And whatever he says he wants, you must be able to at least concede something to him. Okay.
Well, Mr. Mustafa, it seems we are heading to another legal long jam because now, even before the convention, the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja rejected, that convention, asked them not to go ahead with the convention. And after the convention, I think another High Court also rejected the expulsion of the prominent party leaders, Isom Wike, Dele Fayose, Anyawu, and others. Is this not an effort, an exercise in futility, that convention held in Ibadan? And how do we go from here? Just like Honorable Adeyemi observed, that Wike will get a pronouncement from a High Court in Abuja. The Oyo State governor got his from a High Court in Oyo State. So what has been the role of judiciary in all of this?
Yeah, very correct. it is not yet Uhuru for PDP. And what has transpired, my heart goes out for anybody that we buy tickets and contest on the basis of what happened in Ibadan. I learned this lesson during the OGD and Baba Obasanjo. You remember in Ogun State, the OGD faction of PDP, people contested on that platform. It was the time that Baba Obasanjo gave back into late Olurin faction. And then overnight, there was the pronouncement by Justice Abdul Kafarati in Abuja that there was a subsisting court order and that the OGD faction actually, contravened that order. So everything that they did, all the money they spent and all that. So you have to be very careful. I do not think that, I'm not a lawyer, and I don't pretend to be one, but based on what has been happening within the political ecosystem, I do not think that at the end of the day, what happened in Ibadan is going to stand because of those conflicting, judgments and pronouncements and court orders and all that. Quite unfortunate for PDP. And this is one reason I'm not speaking for President Tinubu, but I always say, look, there are certain things this man did that people should emulate. When you are in opposition, get your act together. The ruling party might come knocking at your door, wooing you and all that. I always stand on the part of principle. There was a time in this country that the then former President former Governor Tinubu, or Governor Tinubu was the only opposition governor. We all remember?
Southwest.
The ruling PDP did everything possible to break him, to woo him. The man stood on principle and said, no, I will continue to run this up. They intimidated him. They stopped local government allocation. They did everything. That is what principle gives you. Look at what is happening in PDP today. Here is Wike. Here is Atiku. Here is this one. Everything. Unable to come together because of self-interests, personal interests. If you cannot drop your interest in the overall interest of the party, your political party, then the result is what we're seeing. I do not see any headway for PDP. I'm not a prophet of doom, but see, next year is what do we call primary election. This is November. We are almost at the end of November. By March, April, between April, June, parties will conduct primaries. And then later people will say, it's only APC that is running one party state. PDP, Desire, ADC, what have you seen? So if they still want to be relevant in 2027 election, it means that they have to bury personal interest, come together. All of them they are political heavyweights, well experienced. They've been in this system for a very long time, so they should know better. And so, in the interest of 2027 election, if PDP still wants to contest, I think that there has to be a way, that they come together and then forge a way ahead.
Honorable Adeyemi, this is more challenging for young minds. When you look at the state of the nation's democracy, and of course, Labour Party, in 2023 election, pulled a lot of weight in some quarters. Of course, people say it's built around the personality, and of course, we're seeing, clearly that that movement, did not really last to the point that we would have a stronger opposition in Labour Party ahead of the 2027 election. And I want to put it to you, is there any way you've reached out personally to the defectors? Because of course you might have your fact, when you say that cohesion is taking place in ensuring that we have a one-party state in Nigeria, interrogating the people that are actually defecting to, for you to critically understand what is going on in that sector?
No, see, unfortunately, we may not have access to some of them, but we have access to some of their aides, and we give them advice. For instance, I mean, because of my way of life, because of the way I was brought up politically, I am not glued to my party, not to see what is happening in the other parties.
Okay.
Honestly, I've been advising, though the PDP in Ogun State particularly, where I once served as a state secretary, I've been trying to reach them on what they could do and advise their national secretary. But unfortunately, like my colleague has said, I'm not sure they are really ready to get their house together. Why? Because of selfish interest.
So what do you think Nigerians that are not of those political parties, and of course they want a better democracy in Nigeria, and the role of democracy, like you have it, an opposition itself, is also to have, when we have a vibrant opposition, it's easier for the ruling party to deliver that dividend of democracy to the people. So that vibrancy, how can we get it now that we have this situation at our hands?
That is the unfortunate thing, and that is why you see most of the youths not getting interested in the politics again, because apart from the money that is involved in it, you discover that the lack of internal democracy does not even encourage most of these youths to come in. And when you are talking of labor movement, yes, Labour Party was used as a special purpose vehicle during the 2023 elections because of the demand. You see, people just felt, I mean, they needed a change, they needed a new blood, like we did when Buhari was coming. What we thought then was that Buhari would come and fight corruption, it's this, it's that. But some of us knew that the Buhari of military will differ from the Buhari of a democratic dispensation, because you will rule by decree here, you will rule by constitution here. So there are one or two ways by which they can block whatever you want to do. That is what happened in the case. I don't see, I mean, Labour Party, I mean, they are even factionalized also. There are problems there. PDP, there are problems. Unless they sit down, make up their mind, even if they cannot take over the federal government at the federal level, let them see what they can do, at least in the states. Because I know in the next few months, you will see President Tinubu coming up with programs that will endear him to the masses. And I've been saying it. People are not bothered with what is happening in governance once we can provide their needs. They can educate their children, they can have their meals, they have good health programs. Whatever you are doing in government, they are not bothered. And so, as long as President Tinubu can do that, and is able to tell us, go and challenge your governors, even though you challenge a governor, I mean, you know what it means. So it's a matter of people having conscience, looking at people, I mean, having sympathy for the masses we are supposed to lead. That is the way I look at it. The chances are they are so dim, and it's unfortunate, but what do we do?
Okay. Okay, well, Mr. Mustafa, now let's talk about the APC. Can they really rejoice? Because some would say having almost all the heavyweights or having almost all the governors, in a party could also lead to an implosion. Because the APC, last election, in those states where APC lost, particularly in Plateau State, it was so narrow. APC lost narrowly in Plateau State. Those candidates will be thinking, okay, we can try again in 2027. Now, with the governors, the former PDP governor now defecting to APC, some of these candidates, some of these personalities that served as candidates in 2023 may also want to defect to PDP, so as to contest, against these candidates.
Yeah, those are all normal within the political system, especially when you are heading into elections. You see people moving from one party to the other. There will be crisis, definitely. Crisis, disagreements, and all that, they are all part of politicking. Now, what distinguishes one political party from the other is your ability to manage whatever crisis that comes. There is no single election that we've had in Nigeria that you won't have disagreements, especially because what you want is what I want. Therefore, we have to struggle one way or the other, for whoever is going to pick that ticket. But one thing that is working well for APC is that there is a unifying figure, which is the president. And so the internal mechanism is there that the APC normally deploy. For instance, in Ogun State, when people like Baba Oshoba talks, people listen. You understand? And it is not just that they listen, it is because these are respected party leaders. And so APC has that. The people that are coming in, the governors and all that, they're also coming in with their aides, with their essays and so on and so forth. So, but at the end of the day, there is always give and take. And if you're able to employ that mechanism of give and take, and then there is somebody that holds the stick, because the stick is always there. And that is one advantage of a party being in power, especially at the center. So people look up to the office of the president and say, okay, let's hear from the president as the overall party leader. And so the crisis will come, the disagreements will come, but I think that at the end of the day, it will actually be sorted, within APC. The challenge is that for those who are coming in, all of them may not, automatically get what they want. Some will get, some will not get, and so on and so forth. But as they are doing that in APC, let's have vibrant opposition. I'm sure that Nigerians were excited when ADC, when people started talking about ADC and all that. But all of a sudden, the whole thing actually went, silent again. Maybe they have something, they are going to spring a surprise, I don't know. But for APC, I think they're going to manage their internal disagreements.
Okay, I would also like to, because we're closing home now, it's interesting to see where we are. And of course, perhaps we're not getting to hear a lot of, he's a Muslim, he's a Christian, this intra-party crisis that they have, the role of religion in all of this. As an elder, Honorable Adeyemi, how much of weight the religion, that we practice, that we see our political leaders also, practice, how much of it does he have, in the decisions they make when pursuing, personal interests as against the national goal?
Thank you very much. You see, it's also unfortunate that we have allowed religion to eat so deep into our political system. It's unfortunate. You see people, when the present administration was coming on board and they were talking Muslim, sorry, they were talking Muslim tickets. I personally never bothered myself because, number one, I know the box stops on the table of number one person now, which is the president. I know his capabilities, I know what he can do. Like my colleague has said, we were in government together, from 1999. By 2003, he became the only opposition governor in the whole Southwest states. There was nothing they didn't do to get him, to coerce him into coming into, the ruling party. He stood his ground, and then he won at the end of the day. So I never bothered about that, Muslim or Christian or Christian Muslim. Honestly, it depends on the person that is there. For instance, in this state, I've been seeing some people saying the next governor must be a Muslim because the incumbent governor is a...
Why do they like to use that card for us when there's an election? At the intra-party level, I don't see them talk about this.
There's even no justification. When we were leaving government, Papa Oshoba was the governor. The man who took over from me was a Bengadane. He's a Christian. And they did their best. When you are talking of rural development, Chief Oshoba did his own. When Daniel came up, I mean, he went on what Oshoba did. So it's not a matter of when they start playing religion is because even at the national level, we have allowed religion to take part of the chunk of decision making. And that is why once it happens at that level, at the national level, there's nothing stopping us from beginning down to the state, even to the local government level. Personally, to me, I'm not bothered on whoever leads the party. I'm not bothered on whatever the combination is. All I am bothered is what you want to go and do there. You must be sympathetic to the needs of our people. Well, that is my own business.
But Mr. Mustafa, I mean, truth be told, our politics is divided along the lines of religion and ethnicity. Whether we like it or not, this thing will definitely come up. In states where we have states that are dominated by Christians, you see, Christian, governors. In some states, they'll balance it. The deputy, a Muslim, the governor, a Christian. Kaduna, for instance, yes, El-Rufai changed the scope. Though some people are still saying that the states should go back to the arrangement of Christian and Muslim ticket. And even at the national level, some would say with the claims with the United States threatening to invade Nigeria with the genocide claim, can APC still afford a Muslim ticket come 2027?
Well, Muslim, Christian, they're all political strategies. They are purely political strategies. Politicians, what they are looking at, especially somebody seeking an office, what he is looking at is not what the rest of us are looking at. He is looking for votes. If a Muslim is the person that will win votes for him in a particular area, he picks the person. If the person is a Babalawo that will enable him win those elections, those votes, the votes in those areas, he picks it. However, granted that we're looking for votes, it's also good to balance things. We can't throw away religion. That's part of our reality in Nigeria. We can't throw away ethnicity. I am a Yoruba man. I cannot deny that I'm a Yoruba man. And so, that is the reason why people came up, maybe our forefathers, our elders, they came up with that idea that, okay, if the governor is a Muslim, it's good to have a Christian sense of belonging. Because everybody, we all have our constituencies. And so on and so forth. So going into 2027, well, I would say, let us wait and see what the APC, is up to. I know there were lots of noise during the 2023 election and all that, but the president was very smart. Immediately he came into office, majority of the appointment that he gave, he gave it to Christians and all that, and since then we haven't had any noise. But going to 2027, it may change and it may not. So
okay. Well, lastly, now, Honorable Adeyemi, our time is fast spent. PDP has a wiki problem. Now he has been expelled, but he has come out to say what happened, the convention that happened in Ibadan was effort in futility. Maybe we'll also get a court injunction that will overrule that expulsion. Is PDP, bad the expulsion, but he has been supporting the president. He has said it that nothing will stop the president come 2027. And we are seeing a lot of inter-party, anti-party activities. Even we've seen some in APC, even not really, supporting, the APC as such. So where does this leave a democracy, and where does this leave the PDP? How can they really their way out of this Wike problem?
You see, you can be sure that Wike will definitely go to court to challenge that expulsion. But I can say without any doubt that, you see, Wike can be in PDP and work for APC government. There's nothing wrong when you say we even need a unity.
But is that no anti-party? You belong to PDP, you're working for APC?
It depends. If the president says, I want to run a unity government, he could get his commissioners and his ministers from many parties.
Especially where you have an APGA candidate also serving in his cabinet.
That is it. But we will see that the APGA candidate does not disturb the party the way Wike goes about troubling PDP. That is the only difference. There's nothing wrong having your
Coalition,
officials,
yeah.
coalition from other parties. They are Nigerians. They will make their contributions to the success of your party, of government. But that is not saying that they should work towards the destruction. And that problem started not now. It started from 2023 election when Wike lost. At the PDP convention, and he's still not happy with the party.
Well, thank you so much, Honorable Dapo Adeyemi, political analyst and former member of the State House of Assembly, and thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
And of course, Mr. Olayinka Isiaq Mustafa, FCA, thanks for your contributions, gentlemen. Well, this is how far we can go on the program today. New Dawn continues on Wednesday with another set of anchors. Simiat, we have to go.
Okay, thank you so much for watching New Dawn Monday edition. Of course, like my colleague said, Wednesday or tomorrow will be for tomorrow. And keep watching The People's Study. Bye for now.